What's up, everybody? Alex back here again, cranking out more content courtesy of another contest. What do I always say? This is why we love the contests. It allows us to crank out these videos without having to stress about what am I going to do? What unoriginal idea am I going to come up with? Do I rank the Beatles catalog because no one's done that? But this is different. This is all about supporting our brothers and sisters and all of our family members all over the place in hopes of helping them grow their YouTube channels in the vinyl community. And this is a contest for Lloyd Boom, World of Music 2, who announced a contest a couple weeks ago that he was pushing for 100 subs, and he was giving away some stuff, and depending on how above 100 he got, the higher the level would get of the gift card, all that good stuff. He's past 100. He's at like 100, let's see. Boy. He's about approaching 120 at this point, which is awesome. I think his subscriber count shot up like 40 to 50 in the past couple weeks. So congrats to you, Lloyd. You got it already. You're at that 100. Let's get to that next one, and I'll do my part to maybe help you get there. A couple of my followers or subscribers might waltz on over there. But Lloyd, I've watched a number of your videos. Just seem like the coolest and nicest guy. So really hoping this works, and I love this contest too. So his contest was he showed, I think, 6 or 7 artists that he views as really underrated and underrepresented in the vinyl community, which I think is a great idea for a contest. And so he's asking to show a couple of records from some of the artists that he showed, if we have them in our collection, and then an artist or however many we want to show that we feel are really underrepresented or underrated. So I had 3 of them, 3 of his artists that I'll talk about here and what I have. Admittedly, I don't have a ton to say, but I think I do have some experiences with them in one way or the other. So we'll start off. One of the artists that he brought up was the great Carole King, and he actually mentioned that it's like Carole King. Everybody thinks Tapestry. That's like where everybody sort of goes, and of course, my basic ass. That's exactly where I go too, because I think for me, this is one of those. Especially when I first started, it was like, this was just one of those records you just needed to have, right? It doesn't matter what kind of music you're into. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, this is a no-brainer of whatever to add to your collection, and also because it's really cheap, right? Like, you can find these in dollar bins, at least here in the States, or depending on where you're at. So not an expensive record at all. There's like 40 billion of them, and the songs on here are just absolutely great too. But I will say, and I appreciate you talking about this, Lloyd, that there's other stuff in her catalog throughout the 70s that I don't have and not opposed to, and I should have. So I'll be on the lookout for those because you said something. But funny enough, and I completely forgot I had this. I don't know where this come from. I don't know why I have it. I do like Christmas music, and at some point I said, well, you love Christmas music and you like Tapestry, so you might as well have a holiday carol. This came out, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. And it's Carole King doing Christmas music. What could be bad about that? So we're approaching that holiday. And so, yes, my 2 Carole King records are the ones that everybody has. And then, a holiday carol. It makes sense, right? The next one of the other artists he brought up was John Denver. Now, I haven't talked about John Denver on my channel. If you know my channel, you probably know, like, Alex, that John sounds a little bit outside of your wheelhouse. And funny, I had a moment when I was in late high school, early college, where I don't know what it was. I had some kind of bond with my dad that we were like really getting into John Denver. I remember I was driving in the car and hearing Annie's song, and I was like, what is this? Like, this is like songwriting prowess in the best of ways. Like, this is such an incredible song. And it told me this was John Denver. And I was like, John Denver, ain't he the guy that sings about being on a farm, kind of laid back? He is. But he also did Annie's song. So at some point, I was picking up some compilations. And funny enough, of course, because I love that song, I skipped the compilation that's on. I don't know why. We have his greatest hits, volume 1. Well, I guess it's just John Denver's greatest hits. But, obviously, Leaving on a Jet Plane, Take Me Home, Country Roads, everybody knows. The songs that are on here that have always stood out to me that I absolutely love, Poems, Prayers, and Promises is one of my favorite John Denver songs. Obviously, Rocky Mountain High, everybody talks about. Rhymes and Reasons is the other one. I've always loved Rhymes and Reasons, and I've always loved Poems, Prayers, and Promises. To me, it's like just some of the greatest stuff ever. We'll shoot up here to Volume 3. This came out in the 80s, I think. you know, what was on here? Some days are diamonds, some days are stones. I know Sam St. John loves that. He loves when I sang, how can I leave you again? And of course, Perhaps Love with Placido Domingo was everywhere. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I haven't listened to stuff in probably 15 years, but I had those greatest hit CDs when I was growing up. And so yeah, anytime you need me to sing John Denver again, please just let me know. I'll get you in contact with my people and they'll get going. Next band, or last band, I think, and this is an interesting one because I think, you know, it's like one comp and one studio album that I really love. But that band is the Hollies. And so I'll get this out of the way. I mean, I have this. I don't know if I've listened to it. This is just one of their probably bazillion greatest hits comps. I think this came out in the mid 70s. It's on United Artists. But, you know, it was like, okay, probably another one of those dollar bin places. I have a number of great record stores here in my city that do dollar sales all the time, and I go there and I'm that annoying guy that's like getting my ass up into other people and moving them around and shit. And so I snag a lot of dollar records in the best of ways. This was another dollar record, and I love this record. This is just sort of drenched in that mid to late 60s UK psychedelic pop. This is sort of like the Graham Nash sort of, it is his swan song, at least with the Hollies, but just something that he's just all over and was really the complete writer on. And that's Dear Eloise, King Midas in reverse. This came out in 1967. Again, I got this for $1, and it is pretty beat up. So I can't say it's that. I wish it was in better shape. Let's call it that. But I do enjoy the record a lot musically. It's on that early Yellow Epic label. From here in the States. And so, yeah, you know, they sort of, again, fall into that sort of mid to late 60s psychedelic pop stuff, at least with this record, and I love it a lot. So those are my three: Carole King, John Denver, and of course, the Hollies. Now, here's my band that needs more love and needs to be more represented in the VC. I've been thinking about doing some kind of like deep dive or ranking or something just to bring more exposure to them. I mean, they're a band that's 50 years old, but they still need the exposure. I just don't see a lot of people talking about them. And they're still fairly new to me too. It was one of those bands that had always kind of been out there. I took like a little bit of a dive into it and they blew me away. And I was like, I gotta work and finish out this collection. It's also a Scottish band, and there are not a ton of Scottish bands out there. A lot of people think like Nazareth or some other stuff, but I am actually talking about the sensational Alex Harvey Band. Debut, Framed. This is a second pressing from the UK. This wasn't released in the US, but this is the second pressing on UK. For you label nerds out there, the first pressing's on that Vertigo Swirl, and it's multiple hundreds of dollars. This one's on that second Spaceship Vertigo, still pretty cool, for like $10 to $20. Their second album, Next, I think my favorite, arguably their best, but to be fair, I'm a huge fan of all of these. I also threw in Tomorrow Belongs to Me. Wacky album cover there too. Live album's great. To me, the whole catalog is pretty strong based on what I've heard, but I still need to finish those out of the collection. But if you're into early sort of proto hard rock, I mean, this guy, he sounded like Alex Harvey, that is. He was doing some stuff vocally that nobody else was really doing in that time. It's hard, it's heavy, it's almost cabaret, it's vaudevillian. I mean, it is like artsy if you're into that sort of stuff too. So when I'm listening to this, and especially their live record, give that a spin. Maybe that's a good place to start if you're not into these guys yet. But I'm all in on the sensational Alex Harvey Band, and I think you and everybody else in the VC should also be all in on the sensational Alex Harvey Band. So there's the video. Congrats to Lloyd on reaching 100. Let's go for that next milestone. I hope this helps a little bit. But if not, just a pleasure to take part in this contest and support you in any way I can. And yeah, let's keep the momentum going and keep it rocking. So cheers, my friend. Bye, y'all.